Hello and welcome to a very spooky episode of Glitch Plays.
This is the one magic one. All the rest of them were normal.
That's the one magic what, Bird? What's happening?
It's not on camera, so I can't show you. Gone.
No one knew it was in the first place.
Okay,
Wow.
So it's drink your Diet Coke. I'll drink my coffee. It's a nice early morning. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of video game stuff. First of all, we're going to talk about some of the recent events in news. We're going to play Would You Rather Microtransaction Edition.
Oh, no,
and then,
not again.
Yeah, and then we'll get into The Evil Within 2 because Bethesda's PR agency was nice enough to send us a couple codes, so we've got to actually have some hands-on time playing it. And also they've sent us a bunch of really weird stuff, and I'm not sure if I'm cursed forever now. 'Cause, well, apparently we are now. So I didn't know half this stuff was bad luck stuff until it arrived in the mail. Apparently, ringing a bell will summon demonic forces.
It says a bell ringing for no reason harkens evil, or does it scare demons away? Can't remember. I guess there's some back and forth on that particular topic. Could be that it's okay. So maybe I'm driving them away.
Look, if I fly today, I'm not going to ring that bell.
You probably
If
couldn't.
this stuff was not from a marketing agency, you'd think someone was stalking and trying to murder you.
They also sent like a shattered mirror.
Did they really?
Yeah.
That's
but
fucked up.
It was nice. It was like one of those Walgreens dollar mirrors. But it was broken very nicely. It's weird. Anyway, so we'll get into all that fun stuff. And we want to say thank you to the sponsors for this episode of Glitch Please, Blue Apron and Casper. And we'll talk about them a little bit more when we get into the episode. Let's not waste any time. Let's talk about some of the news.
It's interesting that was a Resident Evil glitch, because I got very Resident Evil feels from
Evil Within 2?
Which we're not talking about this
Reason
moment,
for that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so some of the big news items for this week. One, we won't get fully into this because we're going to play Would You Rather Microtransaction Edition, but one is the ESRB and PEGI, which is the European rating system.
PEGI 16.
Yes, that guy.
13?
That guy.
Oh, they say the age. Got it. Okay.
Have basically both issued statements about the use of loot boxes in games, saying that they're not responsible for regulating them as gambling. They don't see them as gambling. There's a trademark that suggests Nintendo may be working on a Game Boy Classic Edition, or something Game Boy related at the very least. And then because we are now about midway through October, I think it's worth running through the video game release calendar again. Just with updated, just see what's coming out.
She's petting the bird, not me. I know you couldn't tell originally.
Bird.
It is a black bird
It's
against
like
the black background as well.
It's not the most secure bird. Multiple people thought it was a real bird when I was walking around with it earlier.
Did you say ahoy?
No, I just said this is my bird.
All right, so let's start off with the loot boxes and microtransactions and the rating system. So there's been a growing movement. A lot of people saying that that microtransactions or loot boxes should be regulated as gambling because they're getting people to spend more money in games, and that they're very much like slot machines. And so we've on the know in the past, we've done a couple things about basically what video games are learning from casinos as far as keeping people in, getting that small sense of that gambling rush that you get.
The small win.
Small wins.
For the big loss. Right.
House always wins. But both the ESRB and PEGI are coming out saying that they don't think that this counts as gambling. And this is important because if they did weigh in favor of them being gambling, then by default, all games with microtransactions or loot boxes would be rated adults only.
Oh, really?
Because they're gambling.
Do you think that's why they're not rating it this way?
Yes.
Okay.
But there is a little bit more nuance to it, and it was pretty well pointed out. The ESRB statement says, ESRB does not consider loot boxes to be gambling. While there is an element of chance in these mechanics, the player is always guaranteed to receive in-game content, even if the player unfortunately receives something they don't want. We think of it as a similar principle to collectible card games. Sometimes you'll open a pack and get a brand new holographic card you've had your eye on for a while, but other times you'll end up with a pack of cards you already have. And that is a fair point. Those like booster packs of cards have been around for decades. They're basically how card games work, is with these booster packs, where sometimes you'll get something that you want and sometimes you won't. I think the other point of it is that you never get your money back.
Right, you're not winning money. You're not winning digital or physical content.
Right.
And that is a great point. No matter what happens, you open it and you get something. Maybe it's not what you wanted, but something comes out. You never open a pack and it's just like, whack, whack.
Yeah, the Peggy statement was pretty similar. They said
opening a bunch of Halloween boxes.
Oh, so happy. Saying, in short, our approach is similar to that of ESRB. I think all ratings boards do, USK and Germany as well. The main reason for this is that we cannot define what constitutes gambling. That is the responsibility of a national gambling commission. Our gambling content descriptor is given to games that simulate or teach gambling as it's done in real life, casinos, racetracks, etc. If a gambling commission would state that loot boxes are a form of gambling, then we would have to adjust our criteria to that. So, ESRB is saying, we don't think it's gambling because you're guaranteed to get something. Peggy is saying, we're not responsible for defining gambling. And if a gambling commission were to say, yeah, it's gambling, then we would adjust.
Sure.
That's kind of dangerous, because that's saying, that's just throwing it up in the air and letting some other maybe less informed body make the decision for you.
That's true, which is like the exact opposite of what these rating systems have sort of done in the past, which is intentionally privatize it to keep it out of the hands of a government commission. But I also see their point in saying, like, we're not a gambling commission. We don't determine what's gambling.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I'll give you that. That is not necessarily in the scope of their operations. And yeah, I'm inclined to think that it's not really gambling, though there's an element of chance involved. But
the thing where it gets shaky though is that like developers control the frequency in which you get like the stuff that you care about, and like it's not. I think that is the part that should be somewhat regulated. Where at any point, like what game was it that some game changed their? It was Pokemon Go.
Okay.
Where you would, they changed the frequency in which you would catch things with a certain Pokeball. And I feel like that specifically should be regulated where like, all right, I spent $20 on these balls knowing that'll have a 20% catch rate or something like that. And then the next day they decided to drop it down to 15%. Like that stuff seems not okay. That was the moment when I was like, when that patch came in, people were like, yeah, the catch rate's much lower. That's the moment I stopped playing the game, because I wasted money on things thinking I would get one thing and then I got the other once they decided to change it.
They devalued your purchase retroactively.
Right.
Yeah. In China, they actually do regulate these sort of loot boxes. They are required to publish the likelihood of getting any particular item in a game.
I think that should be the norm. I mean, you see threads on new games every time there's a game with a loot box, and like with Destiny, they're like, I spent $500 on Bright Engram, so you didn't have to. Here's what I got, and it's like, okay, you got a lot of shit, but like it like lays out sort of the percentages of exotic items versus regular and dust and all that. So I think that should definitely be surfaced, because otherwise it's just. I don't know. I still buy into some of that stuff. Like I still buy silver for Destiny, but I do feel like there should be some.
You do?
Why?
I bought one. I should say I bought it one time because I was like, I'm on the hype train. I'm gonna buy some silver just because I wanted to get some ornaments and things like that. I never got the fucking exotic emote, even after playing that game a lot, the ramen one. But like I don't know, that stuff should be surfaced. It's frustrating.
I agree. Yeah, no, it's let us know what our odds are, and then we can make the informed decision as to whether we want to throw some money at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there have been some very clever ways of getting around sort of microtransaction items in games not being gambling because they have no real world value. And so we saw this with the CSGO skins.
They do and they don't. Yeah.
Right? So on Steam, it's not gambling because it has no value within Steam. You can't get your money back from that ecosystem. it's not gambling on those sites that resell skins because you're selling a specific thing. But you gamble, get stuff, and then sell it for real world money. So you can get your money back, but not within one single streamlined system.
I mean, that's just supply and demand. If somebody's got a product that someone wants, they'll pay money for it. Yeah, it's receiving that item is not really any more of a gamble than opening any other loot box. It's just that there's a marketplace where that thing can be resold.
Yeah.
But it is still selling. It is not gambling.
Right. So by separating it out, they sort of mitigate that risk.
If you could buy it, that would be different from like directly.
Yeah. But it is interesting that we at least now have statements from the two major ratings boards on microtransactions and loot boxes, and that they're weighing in favor of like, nope, fine, we're not going to do anything about this.
They're
but
weighing in favor
OpenCritic,
of someone else's problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if they did like view it as gambling, that would sort of make most of these systems go away, right? Because people wouldn't want their game to be AO.
Well, and that's the trick too. Is like ESA is largely formed of people who have horses in the race. The other, now I'm blanking. There was something else about it, but I'll bring it up in our conversation a little bit later if it comes back to me. But the Game Boy Classic Edition, next headline. So,
Oh boy.
on September 15th, Nintendo filed a Japanese trademark application that included an image of what's unmistakably a Game Boy. They don't include the name Game Boy anywhere in the trademark application, but the image is absolutely a Game Boy.
Now, does it have controllers that attach from the side? Because I hear there's another company that's very hot about that.
Right. So among the trademark categories applied for is video game system or program, which again fits with these classic consoles that Nintendo's putting out. They had the NES, they've just released the SNES, and so that would very much fit in with that. They haven't announced anything yet. It's worth noting as well. So here's the.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
That's
a
Game Boy. That is not even possible to interpret as something else.
But will it still have the shitty green graphics?
I love that.
See,
You love that?
That was a charming thing.
That was not a charming
That was
thing.
super charming.
That was
Yeah.
eye offensive.
And then you get all
will
the.
you be able to see it in the light?
Well, you have to get the attachment for that,
Yeah,
with like the magnifying glass
don't,
with the lights that
don't
go in.
add
it.
those. Those were terrible.
And they had like the fold out. Were they speakers that folded out? Those things are
It
fucking
depended on the
amazing.
version.
Like
Some of them
some of the contraptions you can get for that thing were incredible.
Now, it is worth noting that the trademark application categories also include keychains, clothing, and cosmetics. So it is possible that Nintendo is planning on doing more sort of nostalgia cash-in with like a line of like merchandise or something like that. But given that they have been releasing consoles, I can see them even releasing like a handheld with a bunch of old school games preloaded on it.
Is there that much of a? I mean, there must be, but I don't look back on Game Boy games and think, man, the nostalgia for playing that Mario Brothers game that was not quite as good as any other Mario Brothers game is so strong that I need it.
I think back
Yeah.
then the thing I played most was Pokemon, but
It was literally the only reason to own one was because you were a desperate gamer who couldn't play it on the go any other way.
Yeah, and I mean, the Game Boy was their only handheld for 9 years before they came out with the next Game Boy. Can you imagine any handheld these days going for 9 years?
maybe
Exactly.
maybe the Switch.
They don't even sell those old Tiger ones anymore. You know, the ones that are just like flashing
Oh,
screens?
well, of course they don't. Those
Fun
things are
fact,
horrible.
you know what's making a comeback? Tamagotchi.
Oh, no, not
No
the
joke.
Tamagotchi.
I got a press release the other day that was like, "Hey, Tamagotchi's coming back," and I just emailed the PR person back. I was like, "This is ridiculous."
Are you sure?
Like, don't get me wrong. I had a Tamagotchi in high school.
Aren't there apps for Tamagotchi?
Yeah, there's
Like-
thousands
But this
of
is
them.
like those actual like physical egg things. Remember, you hatch the egg and you have to take care of it.
Why
have to
would you
clean up
prefer?
its
Why would you
digital
prefer?
poop.
Why would you prefer that over just the app?
I think it's people
like
just
silly things.
going in on 90s
Like
stuff.
silly
If you give me a Tamawachi, where I could put it as a watch, yeah, that's what I'm.
Tamagotchi.
Which you can,
You can pay for that
definitely
one
already
later.
do that with watches, probably, with a watch, a smartwatch.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Well,
So, you would get a Game Boy Classic?
Again, no, I haven't got my SNES Classic
But
yet.
would you?
That's a hard question because I don't know the demand. Like, With the SNES Classic, it was the same problem. Like, I wasn't going to sit there all day and wait to pre-order it. So, no, probably not, because it's going to be in too high demand.
Do you have a lot of Game Boy OG games that you're like, man,
Game
I wanna
Boy,
play.
Game Boy Red, Blue, Yellow. That's like, or sorry, Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow. It's all I remember.
I also like Game Boy Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Hey, shut up.
Which, no, they existed.
Yeah, no.
Except for maybe the yellow.
Yellow existed. It was a Pokemon Game Boy. Or is it Pokemon? It was a Pikachu Game Boy. Fucking A. Enough of this
I always liked
witch's brew.
the colors. What they'd call the colors. Like there was
Game Boy
spice.
Color?
There was the spice, which is the orange.
Mm-hmm.
Purple was nitro. I can't remember. But
Purple Nitro, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't nitro.
Jelly.
But they had. I liked they didn't just call like here's the purple one, here's the orange one. It was special.
Well, I'm sure they had to patent the color and all that stuff too. That's
Probably like here's our Pantone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Either way, or so you'd skip a Game Boy.
oh God, no. I have no desire to own one of those at all.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you?
I think I
get
had
a SNES Classic? Did you?
I haven't. No, I haven't got one of those yet either.
They went back up on GameStop's website yesterday.
Fuck.
Sort of.
Gone
we
already?
Think, yeah. It was, I don't know if their website was just
let's see.
glitching out because a bunch of people hit it all at once. I can guarantee you they're not there now.
I'm gonna look on Amazon right
If someone sees this go live, tell me, because I want to buy one.
Yeah, we,
I didn't think I wanted
a-
one until we did that stream, man.
No, you like it?
I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. Especially just playing Ghouls and Goblins. Oh my God.
SNES Classic. Let's see.
is it on Amazon right now?
No.
All right. There's Super NES Classic.
Well, yeah,
Not
for
available.
541 offers for $155. No, thank
That's-
you.
yeah,
That's
that's
not too
not
bad, yeah.
But
What?
it's a 100% markup, no big. And finally, we are now mid-October. We are in the middle of the sort of the game release rush in time for the holidays. So we did this a few weeks ago. We sort of ran down the game calendar. I think it's worth going through and just noting some of the highlights that are going to be coming out still, because we're about to get some of
Look
the
pent up.
really
What's the
big
matter?
titles.
I'm excited for what's happening on October 27th, but please.
Oh man, that's going to be quite the day. All right, so the game release calendar for the rest of this holiday season is firmed up. We are now looking, so let's look through add to cart at GameStop.
Add to cart.
Add it to cart, add it to cart.
Give me your phone. I'm going to buy it.
Where's your phone?
I don't know.
See, this is the problem that was happening yesterday.
Where the add to cart did not work?
Yes, so
It's grayed out.
where it's showing it as,
Oh, wait. It says new unavailable online.
okay, so yesterday the GameStop website was showing like the
very
add to
poor
cart
design.
button, but then nothing would happen when you clicked add to
Well,
cart.
it's grayed
But
out.
It was also going up and down, so it kept alternating between allowing you to like at least see the button to add to cart that you couldn't add to cart and not available.
Hey, GameStop, don't put an add to cart button that doesn't work. No one knows that grayed out means not functioning, other than it's pretty standard, but at the same time, if this is the first time I've ever been to your website, I would just assume that you have a gray button.
Yep.
On the non-mobile website version, it just says more info instead of add to cart. All the other results show add to cart.
GameStop,
Yeah, so I think something might be messed up with their
fix
website.
your mobile version of your website. Don't put a gray button that says add to cart.
Man, I feel bad for web teams, because I hear that. I don't even work on our web team.
Yeah.
But all day I get tweets like, "Why is your player broken?" It's like I don't fucking know. But stop tweeting about it. Like,
There's
I
a
feel
big
so
difference
bad.
between a player just not working and a poor design choice.
Totally, but I get stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But I don't do stuff for the website.
Look, no one knows what you do, okay? You need to make it clear to everybody.
I can't.
We just figure this way you'll pass it on to those who need to
Yeah.
fix it, right?
I don't, because that would be annoying for them to hear it from me. I don't
Oh,
want to be the middleman here.
No.
All right. So who should they tweet it to then?
Web at Rooster, or like web, the Rooster.
Do we even have a?
I think we have like a web engineering Twitter, right?
I have no
Oh,
clue.
you tell us.
We should find that out.
I don't. This is not my department.
It's kind of your department. Well, no, that's a separate department.
Separate
now.
department.
They spun off.
All right, so the game release calendar, returning to video game things. October 13th, Evil Within 2. And October 17th, so next week, South Park, The Fractured But Whole. Also October 17th, Gran Turismo Sport. And this is just the highlights, by the way. This isn't all of them. This list is very, very long, so I just bolded a couple of the bigger titles. Fire Emblem Warriors, October 20th. Destiny 2 hits PC October 24th. And then we get to the 27th.
Really?
What?
Yes for Destiny on PC.
Yes, because my friends that I have not been able to play with because they're waiting for the PC will be playing it there, and I'll play it with them.
All right.
There you go.
Going back around, huh?
Yeah, man. It's a fun game. I love shooting stuff and getting loot.
Yeah, but once you've done it, you kind of done it.
Listen, if my friend, like any of my friends call me up and they're like, hey, dude, you want to run the Nightfall? Even though I haven't played the game in like a week or two now, I will totally hop on and play it because it's fun to shoot shit. That game has real good shooting mechanics.
It's real good, real good shooty game.
It's got good shooting mechanics, but it's not so amazingly different from the first one that I'm not like.
It's still a fun game to play with friends.
It's a fun game, but I've played a lot of that game.
I will not say that game is not without its flaws, but that game is.
It's not. I'm not even saying it's flawed. Not at all.
Yeah.
I think it was a very enjoyable game. They delivered on story. They did a great job with that. But having played through all the way through the raid, I'm now good with that game.
Yes.
I have no need to play it anymore.
I'm still not good, even though I'm not playing it right now. I want to go back and do the prestige raid and get the cool gear, even if it's for nothing, other than just looking cool. I could take a picture and post it to Twitter and be like, look at my cool dude.
That was actually something that was kind of disappointing about the raid gear. Is that in previous versions, in Destiny 1, raid gear actually was something that was like cool, other than just it looked cool. Like it had abilities that were interesting.
Yeah, they just released Iron Banner gear. It looks good, but I think Ashley is waiting for us to stop talking about it.
No, I was just thinking. I was just thinking that if you're gonna take a break from Destiny 2, because you feel like you're waiting for them to add more content, this is a good time for it because there's so much other stuff to play.
So much shit.
Exactly.
And then you can come back to it when it's got more stuff.
Well, when DLC drops, then I'll play it again.
Yep.
Right. Let's see what else. Oh gosh. October 27th, Assassin's Creed Origins, Super Mario Odyssey, and Wolfenstein 2: New Colossus.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe those all dropped on the same
And not
day.
a game, but Stranger Things season 2.
Yes. That's a big
It's gonna
day.
be a big day.
Which are you gonna start with?
Odyssey. I mean,
Odyssey. Okay.
yeah, dude, that game. Come on, man.
Hats.
Well,
Hats.
it's just Mario. Like, I
Hats.
just want a Mario game.
So first review is out from Edge Magazine because
For Odyssey?
yeah.
What?
Well, because print works on such a different timeline than the web, that they it was either now or their review drops in November.
Sure.
At which point, no one cares anymore. So I guess Nintendo said, yeah, you go ahead. So first review is out, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
I wouldn't really expect anything less from they haven't made a proper 3D Mario game since Galaxy 2. Is that considered a proper 3D Mario game?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, people sometimes exclude that and they say Sunshine was the last proper 3D Mario game.
I mean, it depends on you have to get really granular about how you're going to define it if you want to break them out. But overall, I'd say, yeah.
I exclude Super Mario 3D World, even though it is a 3D Mario game.
New Super Mario?
None of those. The last one I would really consider a proper Mario game with like a full story and all that is Galaxy 2. And I don't know why I exclude it that way, but like I don't feel like those games have as much clout as something like Galaxy. But yeah, dude, I wouldn't expect anything less from a new Mario game.
What's your priority on the 27th?
Either Wolfenstein or what was the other one?
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed Origins?
Yeah, I think I might do a Wolfenstein first because I feel like when I have multiple titles that I want to play, Wolfenstein, I think between that and Assassin's Creed will be the one that I can just play through fast.
Knock it out and then switch to the other
Exactly.
one.
Like I'll have those games are usually like a good few session, few longer session, committed, focused, and then out, done. Like you've had your fun and you can walk away from it. Whereas Assassin's Creed's like, all right.
Could be a couple dozen hours,
So,
and you have this
I'm
other
gonna
game
have to
waiting
go
in the
pick up all
wings.
these things.
Are you going to play Odyssey before or after Assassin's Creed? Or not at all?
I don't know. We'll see.
Wow.
It's
People with different tastes. How shocking.
yeah. No, I mean, the only thing that I might get into Odyssey for at this point is to see if Eli likes it. If my son will play it, then I'll give it a shot.
I mean, you get to put a hat on a dinosaur and be a dinosaur. Look, I'm not like how old is Eli now?
He's 6 now.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
In my mind, I guess he's been 2 for like 4 years. Weird.
He growed up.
Okay, well, he gets to be put a hat on a dinosaur and be a dinosaur. I think it's safe to say there's going to be some appeal there.
I hope. I've tried to get him into Mario's games before, and he's just not having it.
Well, see, you can always just you take the Switch and you just hand it to him and be like, here you go, and then you can be playing your game on the TV, and you can be sitting right there, and you can have your bonding time without actually having to talk to each other. It's gonna be great.
I mean, I already have that experience. It's just he plays Lego on the TV.
All right, so the next week after that, I think that's holiday.
Yeah.
If we had to have one day for this year where it's the insane game release day, it's October 27th. But the next week is Call of Duty World War II. That's out on November 3rd. And then the...
Did you play the beta at all?
No, I don't care about Call of Duty anymore, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's not special in any way.
All right.
It's very... a World War II shooter Call of Duty game.
But there's also something very interesting about Call of Duty in that it doesn't need to be.
For its audience.
For its audience,
yeah.
Yes. There is a segment of people out there who buy Call of Duty every year because they know exactly what they're getting. And they don't care. It's a crossover in, I think, the mentality of a lot of people who buy sports titles every year as well. Where it's it's updated roster, it's got a couple new things, and they don't really care if it's retreading a bunch of the same ground. They just want the new version of it, and they know exactly what they're getting, and that's worth the price of entry.
I will say they've been doing some interesting things with Call of Duty Infinite Warfare post-release with the multiplayer. They had just had Gesture Warfare was kind of a little fun thing. They have these fun little game types that they've been rotating through, which is kind of neat. Same kind of idea as what Overwatch did. But, God, the movement in that game is so hard to play Infinite Warfare and not go, oh, this is just not as good a version of Titanfall.
Yeah.
All the wall running, all of the movement mechanics in Titanfall were so much better refined versions of what was available in Infinite Warfare.
Yeah, speaking of Titanfall, those developers, Respawn, are working on a VR exclusive title. And what made me think of that as well, the next lead-in, good for news, so we'll take a quick sidebar, is that Oculus just announced a new VR headset. This is Oculus Go. It's going to be $200 coming out 2018. And what's interesting about it is that while it's more limited in terms of what it can do, because it's obviously going to be a bit lower end than the Oculus Rift, it's standalone. It doesn't require a PC, and it doesn't require a phone or anything. It's going to be a standalone headset.
It's going to be like a phone on your head that plays games.
I mean, yeah, they've got that already. It's just you put your phone in it, I guess.
Totally.
Right, but I think what they're trying to do is design something that's a little bit more consumer entry level than Oculus Rift, but they want to really tailor the hardware for a better VR experience than doing it with your phone screen.
My thing is
noise.
It's
driving me crazy.
$200.
There's noise. It's like a phone alarm. It sounds exactly like my alarm going off. I'm thinking, am I still asleep?
No, you're awake. You're awake. Hold on.
There's the thing.
You need to ring a bell?
Sorry, I'm good.
Don't do it. Oh, God damn it. Okay.
Hold on. If this stops spinning, you're still dreaming. You're not dreaming.
That was a good spin.
It's a really good spin.
Okay, you're dreaming?
Well, they trotted Zuckerberg out for this, huh?
Yeah, he is the one who came out and announced it and said they're working. They want this headset to, be part of the progression to getting 1 billion people into VR. I think Zuckerberg really wants to be the guy who invents the Oasis.
Hey, somebody's got to do it. I mean, the main thing, though, and this is the same issue that the smartphone version has, is that they still really haven't nailed down how to do positional tracking with.
It doesn't have positional tracking.
Yeah, which
it doesn't have.
Fucking good is it?
It doesn't have that, and there are a couple of other limitations as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have everything, but it's. So I feel like there's Oculus Go and Oculus Rift, and eventually they've got to sort of come together. So it's a standalone headset that doesn't need a PC or cables or anything like that, but it's got all of the tracking and everything that you would expect. And it's got to be somewhere in the middle. It's got to have both of those things, basically.
$200 for someone who's not into VR to try to get them into VR seems like a huge price jump instead of just buying something you can slide your phone into.
Which was still $100.
You can get Google Cardboard if you have like an Android phone.
Yeah, but that's also something that like a lot of DIY enthusiasts are going to be into. A lot of people don't want to deal with it on their own.
And the other problem with the goggles version, the smartphone version, is it only worked with a couple phones.
Totally, but like it just seems like asking someone to pay $200 for a VR headset that only does so much, but it has these exclusive games that you probably don't care about because you're not into that sort of thing anyway.
I think as a concept for maybe a new entertainment portal, it's an interesting idea. Like the not having positional tracking obviously is not an issue when you're talking about looking at 360 video or even experiences like faux theaters and things like that. Like if you want to sit on a plane, pop those on. If they're really nice and comfortable, you've just shut out the world and now you're in a movie theater watching a movie. And aside from on the plane, there's a lot of situations where that might be nice to just completely like wall off the outside world and have your own little private media experience. And I'm guessing that that's where this is supposed to be targeted.
I mean, we are talking about Facebook, and we are talking about a goal of getting 1 billion people into VR. So while we've been using VR largely for gaming experiences, that's clearly not the direction they're thinking this needs to go in order to get that many people. I think you're absolutely like, you hit it on the nose with like social spaces, with like just like a personal media screen, with that sort of like very casual, very mainstream, very accessible stuff, which then of course gives the rise to the question, well, why not the phone version then?
I mean, the phone version, I'm sure, is still going to exist, but they were giving those away like candy for a long time whenever you bought a phone that was compatible with it. Yeah. And in recent memory, that's really fallen off. So I think they got as many of them out there as they could, as fast as they could, and the ecosystem just is kind of still not there yet. I mean, nobody's figured out how to properly. I mean, there have been a few good examples. I take that back. Things like Arizona Sunshine was an amazing game that actually was fun in VR, and like they told a story like it was a game. Too many people Star Trek Bridge Simulator, a game. The people are finally making games for VR instead of just the VR tech demo that is sold as a title. Yeah,
it was pretty interesting. Microsoft, Albert Pinello from Microsoft was saying that the reason that they haven't focused very much on VR yet is they feel that right now it's too connecty.
Too connecty, yeah, I can see it.
And they didn't want to distract developers with it. That it's not like it doesn't have the. I don't know, like it's not advanced enough. That it is too many tech demos and not enough game experiences and so on. Yeah,
pretty much. It hasn't really found its niche of why a gamer wants this over a mouse and keyboard experience.
Sure.
Or a controller experience.
All right, back into the game release calendar. Right. So let's see, we did Call of Duty World War II on the 3rd. Following that is Horizon Zero Dawn. They've got the Frozen Wilds on November 7th. You excited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit?
Yes.
So it's going to be, I think a lot of people looking forward to that. You stoked?
I need to finish the original game. I tried playing it after.
Go finish the game.
I tried playing it after I started it. Then I played Breath of the Wild for like a month, and then I went back to that, and I was like, I cannot climb on everything. This is a hard game.
You can't climb on everything, but everything else is amazing.
Yeah.
Then let's see. We have the Xbox One X console launched on the 7th as well, but that's hardware. Sonic Forces, Project Sonic is also on November 7th. Need for Speed Payback on November 10th. And then Star Wars Battlefront on the 17th. And Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon also on the 17th. Also Skyrim VR for PSVR on November 17th. And Skyrim for Switch on November 17th. And Sims 4 hits PS4 and Xbox One on November 17th. And yet, in spite of all those, like that's a lot of titles all on the 17th, I still don't feel like it outdoes October 27th in scope.
Yeah, I mean, it's more Skyrim releases or just more Skyrim releases. That's never really going to be that interesting. Just like it's like opening a toll road.
Yeah.
Like, oh, good.
They're like, oh, great.
If I feel like going that way now, I can pay some money and go that way. Yay.
Do you say that because the Austin toll road just opened?
Did it?
Yeah, the one on Mopac.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Good to know.
Finally opened.
The expressway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see, moving right along. Doom, VFR. What?
I was going to mention, have either of you played the Battlefront 2 beta?
Yes. Yes.
What do you think?
Thoughts?
It looks really nice.
It looks really nice.
It looks stunning.
Which
Yeah.
is what
They've
that's the lead-off
nailed the
statement
visuals.
always,
Yeah.
right? It's like, wow, it's pretty.
It plays okay. Like
Yeah.
it does the same. Honestly, it feels very similar to Battlefront 1. I think the thing that I'm not seeing because it's a beta is like all of the extensive progression that you'll be doing.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if that game is something I'm gonna love. Like I love playing it for like a couple days and then I don't know.
I hate the new squad system. It is awful.
Okay.
It is a terrible, terrible choice. So you can no longer form a squad with your friends. You're thrown into an ad hoc squad with whoever happens to be respawning at the same time.
That's real stupid.
That is not teamwork. That is having to meet a new team every time you die. Hi, who are you again? What are we doing? All right, fine. All right, I'll stick with you. And then you're rewarded for sticking with these people. But at the same time, I don't want to talk to a bunch of random people constantly to stay in touch with the squad. Like, if I want to play with my friends, I want to play with my friends. I don't want to be like, oh, well, I died. I'll see you guys out there eventually. That is not a good experience to me.
Yeah, there's that's an issue with the game, and the star cards are causing a lot of concern.
Really?
Because the star cards, you can basically pay for loot boxes, star cards, and those actually have, like, star cards are how your character progression works for the different classes, like the class leveling. And so you can basically pay for head starts.
Power level yourself with
That's
money.
so shitty.
Yeah,
dude.
so that's
It kind of depends on how much of an advantage you get having.
Any advantage. Any advantage.
Yeah.
I think it's important for microtransactions to stay away from that. But again, we'll get into that part.
All right.
Okay, continuing on. Doom VFR hits December 1st.
I'm excited about that.
So
Yeah.
does Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I might check that out.
And then Dead Rising 4 Frank's Blade package is coming to PS4 on December 5th. Fallout 4 is hitting HTC Vive December 12th.
Yeah.
And Okami HD, which I'm excited about, is hitting December 12th for PC, PS4, Xbox One.
I want to play Okami. I never played it.
You never played Okami?
No.
Okay.
Same here,
So
yeah.
the way I describe it to people is one of the few games that ever out-Zelda'd Zelda. And all the Zelda fans always say, what the fuck are you talking about? It's nothing like Zelda. And yes, it is. It absolutely
Aren't
is.
you
So
like an
it's-
ink monster or something?
You're a
No,
wolf?
you're the wolf goddess Amaterasu.
Yeah, Amaterasu.
And the world,
Doesn't that mean fire?
It means
I don't know.
Ben's shaking his head. What's it mean?
Doesn't mean that.
What does it mean?
I'm looking it up.
He doesn't know.
Doesn't mean fire.
We stumped the Japanese guy.
But so you play as Amaterasu, and you have to go through this world. It's like all dark and grimy and like poisoned, and you are revitalizing it. And it has this really cool spell casting mechanic where you basically draw a shape. Using, and when it came out on PS2, you'd use like the thumbstick and you would like draw a shape. So it would be like a spiral, or you would draw a square, or it'd be like a slash, or something like that. And based on like the shape you traced, it would cast different spells.
Okay.
So you could make a tree bloom, and that
Kind
was
of calligraphy-ish.
yes.
Yeah.
And then that was the mechanic you use for solving a lot of puzzles, or to go in. So there's the same sort of open world, like overland area that you get in the Zelda games, and then there are these specific dungeons that you go into that are more puzzle based, and you progress through those, and then that's how you go through. You cure that area and bring it back to life, and it's really charming. There's like, you get this cute little sidekick dude who's irreverent, and he just loves ladies and boobs and stuff.
Nice.
And he's also like this. He's
Hooray.
also like this tall, and he's just like gonna sit back here.
Do you get a hook shot?
I don't recall. It's been a very long time
Not
since
very
I've played
Zelda
it.
either.
It does.
Amaterasu means
boomerang.
shining in heaven, by the way.
Yeah, shining in heaven, not fire.
That's weird, because whenever Sasuke does it, it's totally black flames. You had an open mouth thing about Fallout VR. What was that?
Oh, I'm excited,
You're
but
excited,
like,
okay.
but like, not for $60.
Really?
Yes, because I bought the game. Like,
You did, yeah.
like I recognize that a lot of it's not, you don't flip the VR switch and it becomes a VR game, and I recognize a lot of work went into it. But I've already played through and purchased the game and a couple DLCs. I feel like there should be an upgrade package, something for $30. I would pay $30 for it, like as a DLC. Like, you already own Fallout. Here is the work we've done for $30. But if you haven't bought Fallout before, you get it for $60.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That should be an unlockable feature for people that already purchased the game.
Especially because maybe they'll come out with a demo, but I have no idea if that's a game I'm going to want to play through for however many hours Fallout takes in VR.
I played it at PAX. It does have a walk-around mode instead of a teleport mode, or you can teleport if you want.
Yeah.
Which I think is a travesty in Fallout, but
Yeah.
but again, you can walk around just fine. That exists. It worked fine. It's exactly Fallout in VR. I really don't have a way to describe it other than that. It is the game that you remember in every way, playing in a way that works very well in VR, but you're still in VR.
And that sounds awesome, but
yeah.
who knows if I want to be in a VR headset for more than a few
That's
hours. Because I've never
major
played a game
limitation.
that really, I think the most I've gone is like 4 or 5 hours.
I will say it's really fun when you walk up to like the first mission where you go and meet the Minutemen, and you walk up to what's his face with the hat, and you meet him for the first time, and you're like eye to eye, and then you go get in the power armor, and you're like, "Hello, little man."
Oh, really? They
Oh yeah,
raise you
you're
up? That's cool.
huge.
That's really cool.
It's also worth noting there's no release date for it yet, but PUBG is still on track to release for at least Xbox One by the holidays as well.
Yes, we also have Doom is hitting Switch, and Rocket League is hitting Switch.
Of course.
Oh,
it
they
is.
had Rocket League on the Switch at the Nintendo store at New York.
Why wouldn't they?
Did you play it?
No, I looked at it, and it was like, oh, it's Rocket League, cool.
I'm kind of surprised it took this long for Rocket League to make it over there.
Yeah, so those are just some of the highlights. There are
some conversations about them.
dozens more games coming out between now and the end of the year. Just a crazy number, really. So let us know what games you're looking forward to, especially if it's like one of the ones that wasn't on this list, stuff that we should look at checking out, because it's going to be. This is a very easy time for games to fall through the cracks. But you know where you're not going to fall through the cracks? A nice, comfortable mattress. Because this episode of Glitch Please is brought to you by Casper. Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the cost. Casper makes outrageously comfortable mattresses that you've probably heard about a million times on podcasts, but I actually have one, and it is true. It lives up to the hype. They're really, really cool. And I never, I recorded, I should go find this video. I recorded, the box, like opening the box and seeing it just go poof, because it's a really cool experience. And then once you've got it out of the box, it's nice to sleep on, which is also very important for mattresses. Casper's mattress is obsessively engineered at a very fair price. Casper is made of supportive memory foam for a sleep surface with just the right sink and just the right bounce. Plus, its breathable design sleeps cool to help you regulate your temperature through the night. You can buy it online. It's completely risk-free. It'll be delivered right to your door in a cool, compact box. Casper understands the importance of truly trying out a mattress that, in all reality, optimistically speaking, you'll spend a third of your life on.
If only.
Casper offers free delivery and painless returns within a 100-day period, so you don't have to lie down in a showroom with like your shoes on and everything, because that's just sort of weird. Casper's
I do that in every showroom I ever go to.
You just find a place and lie down?
The car dealership thought it was really weird.
Casper is available in the U.S., in Canada, and now the UK. And you can save an additional $50 towards a mattress purchase by going to casper.com/glitch and entering promo code GLITCH. That's casper.com/glitch and promo code GLITCH. Terms and conditions apply. I was really, I actually quite liked it. You know, I've never bought a mattress online before. You know, usually it's like you go, you do the lay down thing, and then you strap it to the top of your car, or they have to deliver it at some point.
When I moved to Austin, I slept on a inflatable air mattress for a long time.
Oh, fuck, man.
And then I finally was like, I can't do this anymore. So I found a place that was like a mattress warehouse that was selling, had like a sale going on. They were super, super cheap, but they were on the south side of town. I was living on the northwest side of town. And all I have is my little, at the time I had my Toyota Corolla.
Oh, no.
No, Camry, Toyota Camry. So I strapped that thing to the roof of the car and drove it home.
It's a terrifying experience.
I thought I was gonna fly away.
The internet's doing amazing things where like that whole thing you don't have to worry about anymore.
I got a queen too. I was like, I'm doing it.
I got a Casper mattress recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like?
It's a good. This is not an ad for me. It's a good bed. I
need one.
We woke up in our queen bed and we're like, this is too small and uncomfortable. And we're like, should we just order a mattress? And we're like, yes, just order a mattress. Like 20 minutes later, we ordered a mattress. It was awesome.
I should really do that. I wake up in my king bed and go, my dog has peed on this a lot.
Oh, gross.
Oh, gross. Yeah. Well,
I don't like.
It's got a mattress protector. Well,
if you sleep on the peed on mattress protector.
No. I mean, not like, she didn't actively pee on it today. Like, it's not like I woke up and went, there's a puddle. But I have woken up in a puddle.
Gross,
I have
dude.
before too.
That's
Really?
Yeah, when I moved
man.
my cat down
Don't let 'em on
from
the bed.
Utah, like she lived with my dad for a couple of years while I was overseas, and so when I moved back, went and got her, brought her home, and she's like a little runty, scaredy cat.
I love that cat.
Nutmeg. Yeah, she's amazing. But she was like so scared and traumatized, and I remembered that she likes what I call camping, which is I'll put my knees up. I'll be laying in the bed, I'll put my knees up and form like a little pocket under my knees, and she'll go and she'll sleep under there.
She'll hide in the teepee.
Yeah, in the Ashley tent. And so I put her put her in the tent, and which sounds actually weird.
Yeah, don't put her in your tent, man. That's not a good place.
And for the night, so that she could like have some comfort for her first night. And she was too scared to come out, so she just peed all over the bed inside there.
Nice.
And I woke up in the middle of the night with like cold cat pee.
And she looked at you and she was like, why'd you pee on me?
Time for a new mattress, because it was gross.
Nice.
Anyway, enough of
Pet ownership.
that. Hey, how about you guys, we talk about microtransactions and loot boxes.
Okay.
Ding! All right, so this is coming up more and more and more. All of these AAA games are including loot boxes or microtransactions of some kind. So the idea that $60 is the price of a game seems like that's what they're selling. That's what they're marketing the game for. But in fact, you are expected to spend so much more to get the same sort of experience. And there was a study recently done showing that that microtransactions and loot boxes are wildly increasing the value of the games industry. Like they're bringing it a lot of revenue. Something like $96 billion is what the games industry is worth now.
I mean, at the end of the day, I have a little bit of a problem caring because gamers are doing this to themselves.
Right. So this is where
Stop spending the money.
You don't buy any loot boxes?
No, I really don't. I don't give a shit about how my character looks.
So I'm opposite. Do you buy anything?
I have been guilty of this in the past when I haven't done it in full retail games, but when Pokemon Go came out, I did buy stuff for that. Like I bought some incubators and I bought some Pokeballs, and I didn't really think too much about it because it was a free game and I was having a good time. And at the time, my mental process was, I like this game. It's a free game. I'm happy to drop a couple dollars and support the developers and get something out of it as well.
Yeah.
I do have, there's one time that I've done that, and that was with Fallout Shelter. I was like, okay, I've played this game for 20 hours. I'll buy some lunch boxes.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll get a Mr. Handy.
I used to never buy microtransactions, and then I don't know what happened, but like I'd buy Overwatch. I used to buy Overwatch loot crates like every couple of months when they would release a new event because I wanted the cool. It's like a collectible thing. Like I just want that, and I did the same thing growing up, buying collector's editions. Like you don't have to buy the $120 version of Halo 3, but if you want the Master Chief helmet, you fucking do. And like that stuff's really cool.
But the trick with this stuff is you're not buying the Master Chief helmet. You're buying a chance at the Master Chief helmet. Totally. You know, and that's, you know, we talked about the gambling aspect of it a little bit ago and how they're comparing it more to booster packs for cards and such, which is apt, but it feels, you know, more and more like when I see these sorts of transactions in full retail games, they can be done. There are a couple ways to do it where I don't feel like it's fully cynical. I don't buy loot boxes in Overwatch or anything like that. But the fact that they do that instead of charging for future content in the game, like instead of charging for DLC, so they keep their player base unified. The loot boxes are purely cosmetics, so they're not changing the balance of any sort of game. And like that sort of thing, I can at least understand. There is a smaller section of the player base that's more or less picking up the check for expansion development.
That said, we haven't seen that much Overwatch content. Like we've seen
but they do seasonal events and that sort of thing.
Seasonal events, I don't know.
The Overwatch
not
development
huge
team is now like 100 people. There are more people working on Overwatch now than when they launched the game.
Doing what?
That's only there were only 100 people. Oh, there was less than 100 people working on Overwatch when it launched. A giant Blizzard IP.
That's what Jeff Kaplan was saying.
That's unbelievable, considering Destiny is not just a multiplayer shooter.
Let me see if
Destiny
I can find
has 500 plus people working on it.
I'm sure it goes through cycles.
Of course, there's you get your assets done and then they move on to something else. But still,
and a lot of those people are probably contracted to do something, and I don't know if you'd consider them like a full-time employee.
As of September 9th, 2016, Jeff Kaplan came out and said more than 100 people are working on the game right now.
Yep.
I'm going to try to find a more updated statistic, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So, let's see. Maybe it's this one. Yes. Let me see right here. The team is bigger now than it was before the game launched in 2016. Current employee account is up over 100. So
I don't know why that's surprising to me. I feel like big games like this would always have a bigger, like you look at Assassin's Creed,
support staff,
16 offices worth of people working on the game. But yeah.
But the thing about that is the fact that their development staff is bigger now is going to be supported largely on those loot box microtransactions.
Totally.
And that's how they're funding future development. So that I can understand to some degree.
Another example that jumps to mind that affects me a lot more recently is Rockstar. That's a microtransaction of purchasing in-game money for
short cards, yeah.
For the short cards, but I guess to their credit though, they also then release very regular multiplayer content that is not charged in any way. So you get regular updates to multiplayer. There are ways to earn that money in game without too much hassle, though you can burn through it real fast.
Right. So the GTA Online community, it seems to have really bought into shark cards. That's just like a way of life now. And Battlefront 2, now to their credit, for Battlefront 2, they also said that they're going to be doing additional maps and modes and everything for free because they are putting these microtransactions into Battlefront 2. So they're doing a similar approach to Overwatch. The difference with Battlefront 2 and where people are getting upset with it is that the star cards being how you level up classes means that if you were to drop an extra, cool $200 on these, and get a bunch of star cards when the game first comes out, you're going to be, levels ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. I get the impression from playing it, at least on PC, which that's a more dangerous shooter community. You're alive for about an average of 20 seconds if you're a player that's not necessarily great.
But if you're ahead in levels, you're getting better gear like sniper rifles and things like that. It matters.
Nah, it's not going to matter that much. Every weapon in that game so far, the intro weapons in that game are incredibly lethal. You are not a high survivability character as in any role. Even a lot of the unlock roles where the way that game works is to get the hero characters, as you accumulate points, you can spend them to unlock a temporary jump into a more powerful body. Leading up to, you can save them up, and it's 5,000. You can get one of the two hero characters for that map. But there are interim steps like I'm going to spawn in a tank, or I'm going to spawn as a Wookiee hero, not Chewbacca, but just a stronger Wookiee soldier. Those enhanced characters are also very easily squished. I've spawned in a tank and been around for very, very short amount of time. They can really mess you up no matter what you're in. And if you give somebody a slightly better gun, all right, his headshot's still going to kill you instantly. It's not going to change that much.
But the thing, though, is it gets to be, once you start introducing balance-changing microtransactions, when you can put money down and get ahead in any way, even if it's a little, it becomes a slippery slope. Whereas, so maybe Battlefront 2, it's not the craziest, but Battlefront 3 rolls around, and people are now used to the balance changes from Battlefront 2, so they can push it a little bit further.
I don't know.
That's, I think, the worry that a lot of people have.
I see, and then, you know what? I honestly don't want to be on the side of the argument of pay to get advantages in a game. That's not. I'm conflating two things right now. On the one hand, I feel like Battlefront is very much one of those Battlefield games where you are the ultimate of squishy player. Like, doesn't matter what if you are good at playing that game, it doesn't matter what gun you're holding. You'll probably squish most of the players because whatever they got equipped, you're still going to down them in a couple shots. I don't think I got into a fight that I didn't die very, very rapidly playing in the beta. And, you know, granted, I'm not the best shooter player. And if I played a lot more conservatively, I started to do a little bit better hanging back and being a little bit more tactical. But it's still, if you get into a situation where someone hits you first, chances are you're done. You could be the best player in the world, but you're probably dead. If someone comes at you from an angle that you don't immediately see them and hits you once, I don't care what your equipment is, you're probably dead. And that's how Battlefield, the Battlefield type games have been. So on the side of Battlefront, I don't think it's going to matter. On the side of general rule, I don't like the idea of having pay to get advantage in combat.
Yeah. And
I just don't think it's going to be a big advantage in this particular instance.
Yeah, and so you were saying earlier that you've bought silver in Destiny 2.
Yeah, that was more of like, I'm super on the hype train for the game, and I just want to see what cool cosmetic things I can get. And they are cosmetic. I know that you can also get them through playing the game, but I was like, I want to buy them early and see what I can get. And I didn't get a lot of cool things. I mean, like, it really wasn't worth it, but I was just like, I like this game, I'll support it a little bit more. I have, like, once, I don't know, I felt like once I found I had a little bit of disposable income, those purchases, like, while they're stupid, I'd still buy them sometimes anyway. I don't do it a lot, but, like, I will, when I can, buy collector's editions of games and things like that. Like, I always try to go, like, the little bit extra package, just because of fear of missing out, especially.
Yeah, FOMO is a powerful thing.
Yeah, man.
But part of the reason that I think we're seeing a lot of these sort of microtransactions and loot boxes and sort of alternate monetization of consumers who are paying the $60 entry fee is because game development costs are going up as these teams get bigger and bigger. Like the post-launch team for Overwatch is 100 people, and you know they're like every single employee has a wage, insurance.
Yeah.
You know, you need to pay rent on your building. Like there are a lot of overhead costs just to keep the lights on. And I think with sort of a lot of the AAA titles, there are a lot of indie titles that they're like, hey, it was made by one guy. And so it's easier to keep costs down that way. But when you start to get into these dozens of or hundreds of people for years at a time on these development cycles, the costs are going up, and so they either have to sell the game to more people, which you know they're doing a pretty good job at. I think you know we're seeing more and more of these games that are selling to millions and millions and millions of people, and it's like it didn't sell 8 million. Well, that was a disappointment. But the other way they're pulling in revenue, aside from trying to sell to more people, is instead of raising the price of games from $60, they're just like adding all these other things in, so you're spending more without realizing it.
I mean, arguably, as much of a concern as the getting you to pay after is the continued rise of getting you to pay before with the, okay, well, here's the regular version of the game for $60. Yeah. But if you want all the DLC that'll be available at launch, let's get the $100 version.
I generally don't pre-order games anymore.
For that reason, or?
Yeah, and unless it's like there's a collector's edition that I really want, but I haven't bought a collector's edition in a while. I didn't buy the one for Destiny. I haven't pre-ordered anything in forever. I'll just buy the digital copy nowadays. Yeah,
now that I'm primarily digital for most of the games that I buy, I don't bother pre-ordering because I don't have to. Mm-hmm. Like I don't need to reserve a copy, otherwise I'm not going to get one. It's digital. I will just go online and buy it when it's out.
Well, their new hook, which is, what was it?
I was going to say the one argument that I have for pre-ordering digital content is I'll do it like a day before just so I can get the download ahead of time, so I can like play it at midnight or whatever. But yeah.
The new hook that a lot of these people or a lot of these companies employing is, for example, with Battlefront 2, you had to have pre-ordered by like a certain date. I think it was sometime in September to get early access to the beta when it came out. Everyone else got access to it like 3 days later. So anybody with a pre-order got in first.
A lot of games.
Which is
Destiny did the same thing.
It's like it's such a weirdly backwards thinking. I can see how it works though, because on the one hand you're like, well, by the time the beta came out, that would be the moment where I'd be like, well, I want to try it now. Maybe I'll just go ahead and pre-order it. But it was too late at that point. You had to have already pre-ordered it to get access to it.
Yeah,
and at the same time, it's like
midway.
This is a beta that might convince people to pre-order it. Like the people that have already pre-ordered it, you've got their money.
Well, they did the open beta too, so
they did. But it's like
the people that want convincing can wait and.
It's such a weird mismatch of failure to make that work. You're rewarding the people that have already pre-ordered it, but you already have their money, and the people that want to pre-order it right now to give you their money so they can play the beta wouldn't be rewarded with that if they were pre-ordered it that day.
No, I can agree with that. Like, I think it's fine if they want to offer early access to people who pre-order because they're saying, here, this is a benefit. This is, I mean, we do that with like every video where it's like you're a Rooster Teeth first member, great, you get 24 hours of early access to like all this stuff.
But we wouldn't then go, hey, this thing's coming out today.
I hope
you were a first member like a week ago. Yeah, that's what?
I think that seems like a technical limitation that they don't have a solution for it yet. I'm sure they would very much like to be able to say, you pre-ordered it right now, great, you're in the beta right now. But it seems like there's got to be some sort of delay in that, like some sort of like either like the code generation and distribution or some other technical limitation, because I'm sure the publishers also want to encourage people to pre-order right now in order to get access.
I mean, I'm pretty confident that that's something that has been done many times. Like, it's not unusual to have that be an option with a beta release. I don't know, it's a weird choice. It
is a weird choice, which is what makes me think there's something else holding that up.
I hadn't considered that. That is a good thought, though, yes.
But if you had a choice between $60 and having microtransactions and loot boxes in games, or paying $90 for a game and just knowing that you get it all up front, what would you do?
Well, right now we're living in a world where you do both.
Yeah, right now I feel like, especially in my case, like I'll buy Overwatch and I've spent more than $90, so for certain games, definitely the $90 option. Games that I know that I'm gonna really like or whatever. But $90 up front for any game $60 up front for any game is a huge cost.
Yeah.
I feel like I would take the $90 option, but I would be a lot more selective with my game purchases. I still don't buy a lot of full price games. I still don't buy a lot of $60 games because $60 is so much money.
Well, you're, like as a primarily PC player, there's an interesting statistic about the average price at which PC gamers buy games versus the average price at which console gamers buy games. And part of it probably has to do with, like, on console, they're sort of walled gardens. You're limited in the number of places that you can buy from. The average is something like $45, and the average on PC is like $22-ish.
Yeah, which is pretty much the price point to buy games at.
I'm surprised it's actually so low on console because, I mean, there's the standard $10 markup on anything sold on console.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been buying a lot of indie games on the Switch, so I'm sure that brings it down a little bit. For me, just my 3 purchases.
Yeah, in fact, I'm looking this up right here just to see to look at the exact numbers. Yeah, so $22.27 for PC games versus $49.41 for console. And also that PC gamers tend to wait an average of like 21 days to buy a game. So probably like waiting for sales or bundles or something like that. Well, but that's also like someone might wait a year and another person's going to buy it launch day, and then that's just how they end up meeting in the middle. But I think I'm on the $90 train. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of games going up. I acknowledge that they are, like, $60 can be a lot to drop.
Dude, listen, $90 and you would get everything, like, that means no season passes and anything like that?
Yep.
Then yeah, dude, 100%, because I know that I'm going to play all the DLC for Destiny. If I paid, and I know I've already spent $90 in that game just to get the DLC, but I still have to, like, if I wanted to buy silver stuff, I would still, like, yes, 100%, $90.
I'm going to go a different direction here and say that they should drop the $60 and have more a la carte options. I'd like it not to be wildly different price if they offer both. But if you're going to keep, hinge your development on selling me things throughout the life cycle of the game, then drop your initial price. Bring it down a bit, because that'll get more people in the door. That'll be a wider audience for which you can now settle all of your secondary sales. Stop making the barrier to entry so high.
So you think games with microtransactions or loot boxes should sell for less than $60 initially?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that makes more sense economically. If you're really hinging on that money being there, you get a wider install base if you drop your initial price.
And I think the trick too is, like, so let's say your game price went up to 90. Then 100% of people who buy the game pay an additional $30. So, it goes up, like, that's a 50% increase. That's a lot. As opposed to, when you get season passes or you get microtransactions or something like that. I wonder what the average is. Once you average out across all players on a particular game, where does that end up clocking in?
I think microtransactions are still going to make the developer more money. I think that's why that they haven't gone that route, is because they can count on a few whales spending way too much fucking money, and like some people will spend every few months on Overwatch, they'll spend another $50 or another $100 to get more loot boxes, and by the end of the year they spent like $400 on one game, and that's fine. But like, if you were to charge me upfront Overwatch $400, I would not spend that much money. But I bought at least 3 packs of the loot boxes. So like 40, like, 200 some bucks.
Yikes. There's a statistic out there somewhere about revenue generated by, it's something like, 80% of revenue generated by like 20% of people. Ben, would you mind looking that up and seeing if you can find that statistic?
Sure.
Just for like the spread of microtransaction spending. I feel like I've seen that somewhere before, but it's, I don't remember exactly where right now. I think the other thing about microtransactions for me, the other factor, is with stuff like Shadow of War, which is out. We're not talking about it this week because I would like to have Gus on, and Gus is away at RTX London right now. But Shadow of War is a primarily single-player game that still has loot boxes in it, which is, it strikes a lot of people as a weird choice.
Yeah.
And reportedly, and I haven't got this far in the game yet myself, but a lot of people are reporting that the end game is very, very, very grindy. Or drop a couple dollars and then it like cuts down that grind.
That sucks.
So that for me is that sort of like insidious, like in the back of your mind, concern about any game that has microtransactions is, did they alter the game to make it less convenient or more grindy in order to encourage microtransaction spending?
So you're just getting gear.
Wow, that system sucks, dude.
Well, that looked like the in-game currency, like the kind that you get.
That looked like
for playing the game.
That looked like there's 2 currencies up there on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's your in-game currency.
Okay, the silver one is the one you have in the game.
Yeah.
The gold one must be the.
So the concern about that is, for me, it erodes the trust you have with the developers, because you don't know for sure that the game wasn't altered in any way to encourage spending or to make it more grindy than it would have been if there weren't microtransactions in the game.
Also, stuff like this totally undermines, like, and the same works with aesthetics, but especially with actual gear. It's like, why would I work towards the end game where I can get cool shit if I'm just gonna buy it in a loot box? That that totally undermines.
I mean, I'm not 100% clear on what the usefulness of some of this stuff is, but at the same time, it's like that seems like the kind of microtransaction that you can tell me it exists and I'll just never notice. I keep feeling like I'm coming out in support of microtransactions. I'm not. It's just we keep showing examples where I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not going to ever look at that I'm never going to spend money. I know me. I'm never going to give them money past the point that I've already given them. And it's a single-player game. The end game, such as it is probably go win the fight, do the boss. Depends on have an army, something like that. I don't know what the value of these things are at the moment, but I feel like it's still something that I could very easily just play the game and do it.
So Ryan really likes microtransactions. That's what we're getting.
Yeah, Ryan wants everyone to spend more money on microtransactions.
Yeah,
All right, you got it?
I'm not certain if this is what you were going for. I haven't found much on console microtransactions, but there have been a few reports that I'm finding from app stores, like phone games and the like, saying that there's a report back in 2014 that said free-to-play microtransactions make up 79% of U.S. App Store revenues, and that half of all mobile game money comes from 0.19% of users.
Yikes.
That's a lot of money from a small base.
But can you imagine like the experience for 0.81 or 99.81% of players being a reduced or shittier experience because like 0.2% of people are willing to drop a lot of money? That sucks.
I feel like whenever we get in a situation though where it's like it's noticeably a reduced experience for the majority of the players, there's a huge uprising and pitchforks and torches come out.
Yeah.
As they should. That is the correct way to deal with a situation. Not obviously to a threatening level. Hint, hint. Don't threaten people. That doesn't fix problems. But I mean, the community outcry is usually quite strong and quick when it's something where you can go, well, this is where they're screwing us. And the fact that it doesn't come up in a lot of these situations means it's just something that you as a casual gamer can just ignore.
Yeah, and sometimes the community outcry works. Sometimes I think publishers try to wait it out. In the case of Forza Motorsport 7, they have loot boxes in the game, and a lot of Forza fans were very upset that they had changed the sort of the balance of the loot boxes in Forza Motorsport 7. Turn 10 came out, made a statement, said, "We're sorry, we fixed this, we've changed this back, and here are free cars for you guys." And that was for the VIP players in particular. But so it can definitely engender change, but I think there's also, for a lot of games, particularly those that are going for a more mainstream audience, where the sort of like the hardcore, vocal, really engaged gamers are not the majority. A lot of those, I imagine, will just take a weighted out approach because most of their consumers don't care.
Hey man, shysters are gonna shyst. You're in control of it by not giving them your money.
Am I a shyster for buying everyone's loot boxes? I don't know, man.
You're the reason that we have this ecosystem.
I'm the only one. Listen, I mean,
damn it, Adam.
It sucks because I am a sucker for that stuff.
Your
Not
problem
all
is
of it.
you don't have an angel bird on the other shoulder telling you.
This is a good bird. Don't
devil.
call this a devil bird. Listen,
I mean,
it's okay to be like, I don't know. I'm selective. I won't buy. I bought loot boxes for Overwatch and Destiny, and Path of Exile. I buy microtransactions for.
Well, that's a problem. Nope, there they are.
What?
Well, it says seeing one crow is good luck.
This is my crow.
Hey.
But 6 is an omen as evil as they come. And that'd be
Let's see,
3,
1,
4, 5,
2,
6. Way to go, Adam. You brought the evil one.
Oh shit, he's up there.
You brought the evil one.
Bethesda's actively trying to curse us, I think, which is actually a great time to move on to that discussion, probably. But first, I'd like to thank our other sponsor of this episode of Glitch Please, Blue Apron. Blue Apron is awesome. Have you used Blue Apron?
I have it at home.
You like it?
I do.
Have you used it?
No.
No, you should try it. This October, Blue Apron is celebrating its 5th anniversary by bringing back its top 20 recipes from throughout the past 5 years as picked by you, the Blue Apron community. So this is a very good time to try it because you'll get like the best of the best good food. And so your favorite Blue Apron recipes are back on the menu for a limited time only. And for less than $10 per person per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. You can customize your recipes every week based on your preferences, and Blue Apron has several delivery options, so you can choose what fits your needs. Also, there's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. For example, I leave this evening for RTX London, and that way I can say no deliveries from like now until through next week, because I won't be here to get them, and then there would just be like food sitting on outside my door
until the raccoons came.
Right, until the raccoons came. So it's nice to be able to customize to get the food when you want it. You can check out this week's menu and get 30% off your first meal with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/glitch. You're gonna love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. Visit blueapron.com/glitch. It's Blue Apron, a better way to cook. I do like it. I like cooking. I rediscovered an enjoyment for it.
Sadly, my wife has not discovered a joy of cooking. So I end up doing most of the cooking.
Chef Ryan, I like it.
That's me.
I'm not the only one with that dynamic. Grace does not like cooking, which is fine.
Laurie actively hates it.
I like cooking. I don't like having to cook a complex meal after every day, after work is tiring. So I generally go with easy meals. Give me something easy. But being that we're trying to not eat meat for a little while, that's harder.
You're going vegan?
Not vegan.
Vegan and vegetarian are different things, right?
Going vegetarian?
I don't know. I'm on a meat cleanse. I'm avoiding the meat.
Is that when you eat nothing but meat?
That's right. I'm on I don't know.
I'm gonna cleanse my body with nothing but meat.
Fast. I'm gonna fasting off the meat. I don't know, man. It's just harder.
Well,
and there's shakes you can drink that'll make all the caked on meat blow out of your colon.
That sounds disgusting. I think we should talk about something else that's kind of disgusting and scary.
We're transitioning to the evil within. There's a kid's face that melts off in 3 seconds.
All right, so let's get prepared to talk about some crazy gross stuff then. Let's talk about Evil Within 2.
And then you meet the woman that's force-feeding someone human.
Well, yes.
That was the fun part. I like that part.
Skin and burns.
Would do your Gollum impression some more?
Oh, well, she wasn't really Golluming, but they just needed an evil voice.
She had 2 voices, was the thing.
She did.
She had a high-pitched voice and a low-pitched voice.
All right, so Evil Within 2. This is the sequel to The Evil Within. It's being developed primarily, it's Shinji Mikami, who is the guy who invented and he started Resident Evil. So he's got very strong horror game pedigree. And now he's been doing the Evil Within franchise. Evil Within originally came out, the first one in 2014. I think it was 2014? Yeah, 2014 sounds right. And then this one is out. By the time this episode comes out, it'll be out because this episode of Glitch Please is out for first members tomorrow, Friday the 13th. They picked a really good release date.
I wonder how long they held on to the game. They're like, if we wait 1 more month, we can come out on Halloween on Friday the 13th.
I think they probably looked at the year. You'd be like, do we have a Friday the 13th in October?
Stuff it back in. We got to wait for next year.
Here we go. But so this one, in this sequel, the story is sort of continuing onward. The main character from the first game, Sebastian, he's in the first game he was a cop. He's now been fired because everyone thinks he's gone crazy. But basically, the opening of the game. He learns that his daughter is still alive, but she's being held captive by the evil corporation, Mobius. So it's not Umbrella Corporation this time, it's Mobius. Totally different. Make sure you keep that straight. And
legally separate entities.
Right.
Different trademarks. It's all good.
And she's trapped in the STEM system, which is like a sort of dream world, matrixy sort of.
It's Abstergo's thing.
Yeah.
What's that called again?
The Animus?
The Animus?
Animus, there you go.
Except
very,
instead of memory, it's like you're all made in the mind, and she's like
very
the
ghost
core
machiney.
of it, but she's gone missing in there with no responses. So
it's like the Matrix.
Evil corporation comes to Sebastian and is like, "You're our only hope," and he's like, "You had my daughter, and now you want my help? You're an asshole." But also yes, because it's my daughter. And goes into STEM to try to find her, and they've sort of modeled it to look like this. This small town of Union. Why is it the kids and like peaceful small towns are so creepy?
Well, you know, they're supposed to be places of safety, or places or icons of innocence and safety, and then you twist them.
Yeah. So this game, I think it looks quite nice.
It's very. I played it. Well, we all had PC codes, right?
Yeah. So we've been playing on PC. I found it very interesting that when you start up. First of all, when you start the game, do you turn the brightness all the way up?
No.
Yeah, I don't turn it all the way up. But I definitely go a few notches above. It's like, until you can barely see it, I'm like, I'm going to see that shit well.
Exactly.
Like, a little bit more up.
I don't do well with these kinds of games. I am not
like spooky.
I do not like spooky games. I'm not a horror game player. Like, the scariest game level at which I play ever is like BioShock.
Which BioShock is pretty fucking scary.
BioShock is very creepy. BioShock's very creepy, but I got around that largely by the environment was really compelling to me. Like, I really loved that sort of just like the look and the feel and the underwater city and all that that was happening around it got me kind of through the creep factor. And I felt more like creepy was that game. Horror is this game. Like, it wasn't trying to terrify me, whereas this one is like, you're like, oh, look, heads and saws and everything, like, all attached to
lots
weird
of gore.
Blobs of
Whoa,
people
gore.
and gore everywhere.
This game has like 2 modes though.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean like not like 2 difficulty modes. I mean it has a mode where everything's very like, it doesn't make sense and there's just scary shit everywhere and you're walking through this like hallways with creepy noise blaring.
Kind of like Nightmare World.
Right. And then it has like, okay, you're walking around a town, you can like you have open areas, you can visibly see where the enemies are.
Slightly less Nightmare World.
Right, and it's like it's a horror world, but it's not like as scary, and I like that it has those reprieve.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't just play like the modes where it's like let's walk into scary zone.
It's interesting too because a lot of the scary or let's walk into scary zone. At least I've played maybe 4 hours into it, and there's a lot of that has no payoff, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but. You'll walk into these intense situations, or they'll be like, you're walking around in an apartment, there's a red room over there. That's the only way left I can go.
Right.
I walk into the red room, but nothing really happens. So you project the expectation of things happening far more than they actually
But there are
happen.
jump scares.
There are, but a lot rarer than you would think.
You know, I
did
that with Gone Home. Mm-hmm. Like where they played with expectation a little bit in that, where for the early portion of that game, I was expecting at any moment for it to turn into a horror game. You know, it's like you're alone in this house and it's creaky and there's a storm and you know you can't make phone calls or anything. So it's like I was expecting, like based on all those ingredients, for something crazy, scary to happen, and then it didn't, which can sometimes up the creep factor on its own. I thought this game started out very slowly.
It did. It does.
Like you start out and there's a bunch of dialogue, like setting up the premise,
stuff,
and then you get into STEM, and it's like, oh, Blackpool, and you're going through a couple of these things, and then it walks you through more or less an on rails house with Sebastian, Stefano, who.
No, it's Sebastian, right?
No, the main character is Sebastian, but then like a crazy teleporting photographer, Stefano, which like a lot of these things, once I got in the game, this PR agency's been sending us this super random stuff, and none of it like made any sense, except I was like, do you hate me? Why are you sending me these things? But then the one nice part about the intro was like, there's this cat. And then I was like, oh, that's why you custom painted the eyes on this cat. So suddenly I was like,
Oh, here's the guy getting his brain shot out in slow motion over and over.
And
there's some of the laudanum right there, and then
gross. And but yeah, that if I have one super complaint about the early portion of the game, it's there's no pet button.
There is no pet button for the cat.
You cannot pet the cat. I was
does
sitting
not
there
wish to
waiting
be
for it to
petted.
become interactable.
No, it's a mean
And it
cat.
would not become interactive.
It
It's a
doesn't
nice
want your
cat.
love.
It's got a bow on it.
It's going to turn out to be the boss. That's going to be the thing you have to fight in the end.
So as someone who's not into scary games, I'm also not, but how do you feel of the horror level, or is it too much for
It's
you?
too much. I'm out.
Really?
Yep. I have no intention
How
of
far
playing
into it are you?
anymore. I'm a couple of hours in, but I'm not.
You're in the free roam part, though.
Yes, but and that's cool. Like that part's fine, but I have no intention of putting myself in the way of more of the scary parts.
I will say, again, I keep expecting it to be more scary than it is. Now, they do a bunch of incredible atmospheric things. And I want to preface this by saying I came into this game expecting not to like it. I played kind of a shortened version of the intro that you go through at PAX, and the controls were so abysmal. I was playing on a PlayStation controller, and it controlled so abysmally.
So you're playing with mouse and keyboard?
I am now playing with mouse and keyboard far better.
Okay, because I'm playing with a controller, and I think it controls badly, and that
It is awful.
The
on
shooting is
controller.
bad.
The shooting is terrible on controller.
Yeah.
It's not
it is
great.
Awful.
Yeah.
On mouse and keyboard, way better. Far superior.
That's
experience.
weird because the default control types,
Yep.
it's like controller, and then the last one is keyboard and mouse.
I mean,
so I
it's
figured
still-
it'd be better in controller.
Well,
It's still like
so-
awkward buttons. It's like Q to exit menus, and it's
Yeah.
like it's one of those where they clearly mapped it to a keyboard after the fact. But the aiming and moving and looking are so superior on mouse that it is a different game.
Okay.
I was very interested by the configurations you select right up front. There are two different controller configurations. The main one, the default one, is if you're new to the series.
Like a bog standard third person.
And if you play like shooter games and stuff, but you haven't played the Evil Within.
Left
Yeah.
trigger, right trigger.
Right. So, and it's mapped differently than the other controller configuration, which is if you've played Evil Within, presumably because it means you're used to that.
Hey, did you get
setup
used to
and
our
you don't wanna-
shitty setup before?
Right. You don't want to relearn it. So it's got that, and then yes, the third option being keyboard mouse.
The other thing you can do that I would highly recommend is turn up your FOV. You can do that
That's
in the
important,
settings
yeah.
because this is part of why the controller is so bad. Is you are on screen is really weird and awkward. It's a third person. You're all the way over on the left, and you're like a foot off the guy's spine.
Yeah.
So once I had the mouse and I could more quickly look around and really and take in my environment, he disappeared from me. I don't have to worry about him anymore. Well, on the controller, it's like this asshole's always in the way. I can't see what I want to see because I'm having to look through his back.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's the things happening? It's annoying. It's terrible. So mouse and keyboard all the way. Do it. You will never look back. Now, there's a weird caveat to that, which is one of the things. It's a standard like, hey, you're the hero, but you can upgrade kind of systems where you can collect the goo from fallen enemies.
What a
And you
weird.
can, and upgrade like your abilities, and you can do that stuff and build yourself. But Bethesda did come straight out and say, this is never going to make you not need to be worried.
Oh, I bet not. Yeah, because you're constantly like your initial melee, aside from stealth kill, you might as well not use it. I've just sat there and wailed on somebody. Nothing.
It triggers a instant kill at some point.
Does it? Because
Yeah,
I
'cause
hit
I-
something like 8 times.
I walked up to a guy and he was like, "I'm gonna kill you," and I went chop, chop, and on the third chop it killed him.
Now you can find like an axe or something, or various melee upgrades that are one-time use insta kills.
Didn't know those were one-time use.
They're one-time use. It'll break immediately.
Well, now you don't have yours anymore.
I have two.
Anyway, but one of the upgrades is your right mouse button aim down sights. It's kind of like he's drunk.
Oh,
Like
so
you
they move your cursor on with a mouse. That's fucked.
Then one of the upgrades is it starts reducing that. But yes, it's not. I mean, it's not. I'm overpronouncing it, but it is very noticeable. He's definitely got like that gunner sway.
I mean, they do set that up a little bit in the story-wise. They justify it, like when he goes into STEM and she says, "How are you feeling?" He says, "I feel so hungover." And so they sort of allude to the fact that he's not feeling well, which maybe explains why he runs like someone who's 80 years old. Yeah, I mean,
He runs like Liam
he's not
Neeson
in
in the last
not in the
Taken
best
movie.
shape.
Yes, but so for a game where inventory limitations are a major mechanic, having bullets is something that you have to be very judicious with. having anything that impacts your ability to land that headshot that you have to make is kind of frustrating.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I mean, it's definitely a way to make you want to upgrade that stat quickly.
Yeah. For people who are into, like, I think the real selling point for this game, for the audience for the game, is like, how creepy is it? How scary is it without feeling like it's cheaty or cheapy scary? Those are probably like the big things. I mean, look, it's a spooky October game coming out on October 13th, and about being in spooky dream world, and you know, that's like it's by Shinji Mikami, and like that's the selling point for people. And so I think in that regard, coming from someone who's a little scaredy cat, it does it pretty well.
Yeah.
I
was scared the whole time, even when like nothing was immediately happening.
Well,
I was constantly terrified because I knew that it was going to. Like the atmosphere they set up is pretty successful.
I like the structure of the game. I like the when it goes into that open world town. Reminds me of Silent Hill. I haven't played a lot of Silent Hill, but I like watching my friend play it because I can't play those games. But no, I do appreciate the structure of the game, and that you can like go into these more creepy zones, and the exploring that town and how weird it is fun.
One of the things that they going back to environmental stuff, they do a really good job of keeping that environment from ever feeling like it's dead. Even to the extent of like you'll frequently catch a glimpse of something that will then, you know, have one of those things where like maybe a curtain blows and then it's gone. Like you'll see someone sitting in a chair, like
but then you go to
chair,
look at it and then
it's just not there. Or you like I've peeked down a hallway and then like one of the paintings was just like freaking out, and then I was like, what? And it was gone. And things like I went in one of the houses, just explored one of the random houses because it is very free roaming in that sense where it's just like there's a house in the town. I'm just gonna go see what's in it. And I found a computer terminal in the basement that took me to an armory. But it was only like a 2-room house, so I go down to the basement, I do the little armory thing, I get a shotgun, that's really cool. Come back out, and on my way out, something's changed. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I just see like some, like I start headed towards the door out, and like there's a dead body on the floor that I don't remember, and it gets sucked out the door. And it's just one of the monsters of the town is now dragging a corpse out of the house. That is an environment that I thought was placated. Like I thought that was now a safe zone because I'd cleared the house. And they very quickly disabuse you of the idea that you're ever in a space that will remain safe, other than the safe houses so far.
Right. Yeah. So. And I do like because it's sort of a dream world, you know, like, it's, you know, in mental world, they're able to do cool things with that. So at the, and this is, again, just from the very opening part, there's a part where you walk through, like you're walking through a door and you see a painting of a door. But like you can't go up to it, you can't go into it, but you turn around and now that's what you're looking at. Like,
do you hear the bell?
Don't do that.
That was every time, as you walked up to the wall, you'd hear like a, and then you turn around, it's like, oh, the world's different back there. And then you walk over to that wall, and it's like. Yeah,
like the world can change around you if you're not looking at it. Like they do the pretty cool stuff with that, I think. You know, where like nothing is set.
Yes. Anyway, final thoughts.
I'm out.
You're out.
I might play a little more of it. I can't say it is a game I'm going to finish, but it's balanced enough on the scary and not scary stuff that I'm at least curious a little bit more about it. But it is like, I don't like scary games, so it is like there are parts of it where I'm like, I hate this. I'm just going to yell through it. So.
I'm definitely in now. I was out until I played it on mouse and keyboard, and it's got enough of that, like, now that I have that more secure control over interacting with the dangerous situations in the world, it is less, I feel more in control of the world. Like I can go into it, I'm like, this is gonna be scary, but I can handle the situations I'm gonna face and not be sitting there going, I am mad at this because the controller's in the way.
Gotcha.
So play it on PC, play it with mouse and keyboard. Don't let them try and talk you into using the controller. The controls are bad.
What difficulty did you play it on?
I played it on just the middle one. The normal one.
Just played it on the lowest.
I played it on casual.
The easy.
Even on easy, like they're like, you're gonna have plenty of ammo. It's like, no, I shoot way badly, so I don't have a lot of ammo.
Even if you land headshots, I mean, I've upgraded another. So aside from upgrading your character, you can upgrade your equipment. If you're one of those people, it's like that really likes to grind and unlock equipment and find new things. It's got all of that like gatherer crack in it as well. But I've already upgraded the firepower, which is the damage amount on the pistol, and it still takes 2 or 3 headshots sometime to kill things. So you're not guaranteed that 1 bullet, 1 kill, even with a headshot.
Right. So yeah, apparently Shinji Mikami recommended people play it on casual. So I was like, okay.
Really?
I imagined like that's meant as it's issued as a challenge, and I was more than happy to not meet that challenge.
I read the scriptures like, if you like survival horror, play it on the regular difficulty. I was like, I don't, so I'm gonna play it on the easy one.
Right.
Wow.
All right, so we'll discuss. I think we'll discuss more games next week. Maybe some South Park. Maybe some.
Play Shadow of War.
Shadow of War.
Good.
What else have you been playing?
Oh man, I've been playing
Other stuff?
so many games.
What you been playing?
Switch mostly because I've been traveling. I was at New York Comic Con. I played through SteamWorld Dig 2. I played through played a lot of Golf Story, and I started playing Stardew Valley.
Nice.
Do we can talk about them? We're gonna talk about these games.
Yeah. Do you want how's SteamWorld Dig 2?
SteamWorld Dig 2 is amazing, and more people should play it. If you like Metroidvania style games, that is definitely that. It's about an 8-hour romp, and the upgrades are all like I don't want to call them game changing, but they're all very significant. The game is charming. It's fun to dig. That game is really.
It better be.
If you liked the first game, but you thought, there's not quite enough of it, there's more. It's a great game. I started playing Golf Story. That game is.
It's all I see Gus playing on Switch these days.
Fun.
That's the RPG golf game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hard. I don't want to call it a golf. Like, so far in the several hours I have played it, I have gone through like maybe 1 golf match, and the rest of it is like they're using golf as a vehicle to tell story.
Right, like it's about golf, but it's really not. Like there was, I think Gus tweeted something about like a haunted golf course and vampires. So it's not, like don't think of it as like, oh, I have to be the best golfer in the world. That's really not the way the gameplay like plays out. You know, this is not like the golf game with some level up mechanics.
The way it works is there's a when you start the game, you think they sort of set it up like you're going to become the best golfer. That's what your goal is, and then you want to get trained by this coach, and it's on a normal golf course, and then you kind of go through the motions, and you basically get to do quests by using golf as a vehicle to like, oh, we need you to hit this button with your golf. Like with your golf ball. My bird is falling.
Your bird. Your bird.
And
that just made it way worse.
No, my poor bird.
Stay bird.
But then eventually you'll get sent to another golf course, and you're in this like open world where like you see stuff like a hurricane blizzard golf land, and then you walk into the next one. The second one you go to is like a Flintstone style area where like everyone talks in caveman speak, and like you're like avoiding like tar pits and shit like that, and it's really charming and really fun. And it's not just about the golf. If you are looking for a golf game, it's probably not a good game. If you're looking for an RPG that you don't mind golf being the vehicle, it's really fun.
Interesting.
And then I played Stardew Valley, and man, is that a fun game!
Oh, it's
I finally
hypnotic.
got past the initial. I don't want to say I'm over the initial hump, but I started. I'm into a few days now, like several. I think I'm into like a week or 2 in, which isn't super far. It's like an hour and a half maybe, and I still don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like that's kind of normal. Is the loop of the game like? You go out for the day, you do a task or 2 until you run out of energy, and then you talk to some people, and then you go to bed?
It can be. So the way the game's set up is you are sort of given the freedom to do whatever you like, so if you want to Harvest Moon the shit out of it, you can raise crops, spend your time tilling the land, watering your plants by hand every day, and then you go out and you talk to some of the villagers and you make friends, and you can do that. You can be like, I don't care so much about this. I'm going to go fishing all day, and you can go do that. Or you can head over to the mines, and you can mine your way down. There's 120 levels in the mine. And you can try to mine your way down to the bottom. And as you go through, you start out, you'll get different ores, which you can then use to craft into other things. Like you can make kegs. So if you want to grow hops during the summer, and then spend your winter brewing beer or doing wine, then you can do that. So you're sort of given the freedom to sit out your days. I tend to do pretty much everything just a little bit. So I'll have one day where I feel like fishing today. And I'll go down to a river or to the ocean to try to catch the fish that only spawns in the summer while it's rainy between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m., that sort of thing. Because it very much has, each season has specific crops. And different crops are used for either cooking different food or that sort of direction of the game, or if you are trying to collect everything, you want to try and raise each type of crop, or you want to try and catch all the different types of fish. Well, there are fish that only appear during certain weather, during certain seasons, during certain times of the day, and so on. So trying to balance all of that. And then also spending time in the mines to get ore for crafting resources, or to upgrade your tools, that sort of thing. So I tend to balance it out. I don't talk to most of my villagers until the second year.
Huh.
When
Second year.
Yeah.
I still haven't finished the
I'm
introductions quest because I can't find 28 people. There's a lot of.
Give it time.
Okay.
Don't stress about that. I ended up
Be a hermit.
into the second season before I completed that one.
Gotcha.
Just because I wasn't gonna run around and tick off the boxes.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I
Center's
don't.
a good guide throughout the game. The community center is a good kind of guide to guide you throughout the game.
Yeah, there's a community center which the Mayor Lewis will introduce you to after a couple of days that you've been playing, and the community center has these sort of different bundles that you turn in, and they're sort of challenges. You want to try and get here are these spring crops, here are these summer crops,
Gotcha.
here are these different crops, and you can go in and turn in these bundles, and then as you turn them in, you get rewards for each one, and then if you complete an entire section, all the crops ones, then it will unlock something extra special, like the greenhouse, where you can then raise crops out of season. Or it will remove this boulder in the river so that you get more special bubbly spots and you get more treasure when you fish. So each one has different bonuses like that.
Pay your tribute to the community,
My
Lord.
bird is just going to be sad.
You just need
We
some.
can do this. We can fix your bird.
Bird.
Bird is fixed.
Pat.
So it's the kind of game that absolutely doesn't appeal to everyone. I love it. Bernie thinks I'm absolutely insane because he thinks it looks like the most boring thing ever.
I feel like
and
there's
he
a lot of
just has
little
no
shit
reason
to
why.
find. The moment the guy was like, "I'm in the Adventurers Guild," I was like, "That sounds dope," and I started killing slime. It's like, this is great.
Yeah. So you're given all these different ways to progress depending on what you want to do. What have you been playing?
Shadow of War, and let's see, anything besides that? No.
How do you like Shadow of War?
It's kind of a weird thing where it has sequelitis, where you wake up on day one of the sequel and you're like, oh, I guess I don't remember how to kill anybody anymore.
Or I've forgotten every skill I ever learned.
Pretty much.
Are you playing the same character?
Yeah.
Yeah. You still play Talion.
The other thing that is kind of interesting about it is after playing for about an hour, you will have unlocked up to 4 different status bars. You have
That's a lot of status bars.
You have an Elven Rage bar.
Nice.
Which once that fills, you can go into Elven Rage mode, which means you just tap X and he just kills everything around you.
Nice.
I like it.
You've got a Might bar, which is if it fills up, then you can do one of those 2-button execution type deals, which I'm sure I've only unlocked one, but I'm sure there's going to be one for every pairing. There's the focus bar, which is what you use for doing things like running fast and shooting the arrows. That gives you like the bullet time when you fire the arrows. And then you've got your health bar. And when you're draining someone, another bar appears next to the health bar, which I assume I will do something eventually, or it may just be a status of how the draining's going.
Okay.
But
So far, your draining's pretty good.
all
Pretty good
those
drain.
all those right there at the bottom left. So you're just like, which bar shall I kill you with today? Oh, my focus bar is up. I guess I'll shoot you with an arrow.
Does the one thing I sort of love about Lord of the Rings and that the Shadow of War, or sorry, yeah, Shadow of War did not.
Shadow of
Mordor is the
Shadow of
original.
Mordor,
Yeah.
right? Didn't have was like super large scale battles. Like I don't know if you remember like the Lord of the Rings game from like PS2, where you're just like fighting these huge large scale battles and all the shit going on.
You're just in the middle of it, yeah.
Is there anything like that in this game now? Like
Not that I've seen yet. Well, okay, you know what? I take that back. Like, one of the very first things that you do is you have to defend a Gondorian city.
Cool. Is it Gondor?
It is not Gondor. No, it's Minas Ithil, I believe.
Okay.
So you're essentially part of that battle, but it still feels, I mean, you're a soldier perspective, so it's not like for most of it you have a grand overview of the battle in progress. It's like,
You're
I'm
in the
running
thick of
through
it.
the streets, killing some orcs, and then at one point you do...
So boots on the ground.
Exactly.
Boots on the
Okay.
ground.
You do take over like a siege orc or a siege troll at one point, and you can fire things.
When you recruit people, like
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay. All right.
That's another one of those things that it's like, I guess I don't remember how to steal their brains anymore. Let me relearn how to do that, which I haven't gotten to yet.
I'm 100% on board with Lord of the Rings stuff right now. I don't know what happened. Actually, you know what?
But-
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say it's a fun game. I've been
like
pointing out some of the things that are negative about it, but or weird about it. But if you enjoyed the first one, you will enjoy this one.
Well,
Absolutely.
We'll play it more, and because I haven't dove into it yet.
Yeah.
But we can talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I would
more in depth, right? Where
Absolutely,
we've had
let's
like
do
more
it.
time with the game.
Elijah Wood was on my flight to New York.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You think Elijah Wood would sit in first class? That dude sits in coach, and he sits in a middle seat.
What?
Dude does not care. I've 100%. Not that I didn't respect Elijah Wood before, but I like him even more now.
All right. Did he sit in the extra 6-inch leg
a normal
room?
guy.
Was he at least in a exit
He was-
row?
Premium economy. Come on.
No, it wasn't an exit row. He was towards the front. I think he might have been in like the 10th row, but dude sat in the middle seat. Good guy.
for him.
Yeah, man.
Way to take the aisle.
Yeah.
Right. I've been starting pretty much exclusively,
Yeah.
but I have an accomplishment to report. I got Bernie into Switch. Finally.
Was he not into the Switch?
He was not into the Switch. In fact, he thought I was stupid for liking the Switch.
The Switch is such, especially for someone who travels, like that is such a good fucking system.
Exactly.
I keep taking it and not using it.
Now that RTX London is here, he was like, I guess I can, have that to travel with. So he started playing Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
And at first he was like, I don't like this. I don't do this. Like, what am I doing? I'm just like running around aimless. And I'm like, have you checked your quests? It's directing you to a town. If you want direction to follow the story, that's where it is. And he was like, okay. And then he was like, fine. And then he was like, how do I do this? And I was like, by doing this. And so I explained a couple things to him. And now he's like playing tons of Breath of the Wild, just marathoning it. I'm so proud. I'm just like invested in like getting him on board with my lifestyle.
It's a game that'll suck you in, yeah.
I bought him a battery pack for the Switch, like one of those like big ones, and like USB-C cables and a carrying case and like all this stuff. I was like, here you go. You're all ready to go to London.
Oh man.
And sent him off with that. So he's been playing a ton of that. I'm pretty proud. I'm happy.
Nice.
The Switch has been like low key, like I mean, under my radar, getting a lot of like re-released indie games on it, like Volgar the Viking. If you don't like hard games, you will not like that game. But that game is a super challenging, really fun, awesome 2D fighting game. Not fighting game, challenging game. I don't know.
Side scroller?
Side scroller, yeah. I mean, and then it got Axiom
Shovel
Verge.
Knight?
Yeah, it's like Shovel Knight. Yep. It's got a lot of like. There's a lot of reasons for me to play my Switch when it's time to play the Switch, like in bed or on a plane. That thing is so good for. It made my flights so easy. I was sitting in a window seat and I'm like really big, so it's like this. But playing my Switch, I was just able to like zone everything out and just fucking play games.
We went down to Fredericksburg over the weekend. We took the boys down because they do a cool Oktoberfest down there, and so we were driving and Bernie's in the passenger seat playing Breath of the Wild, and it was like a totally decent experience.
Yeah, man.
So having fun with it. I got this. I don't know who makes this exactly,
What
but
is that?
so the
Fancy.
agency that does PR for Activision sent this over.
That is
Because they also do
beautiful.
like these other PRs, and it's this really cool case, which I'm probably not going to use too much, just because you can't have this on and put it in the dock.
That makes sense.
It won't fit.
Got,
but
a nice
it's a
little
pretty cool. It's
Legend of
basically a
Zelda.
screen cover.
Can I
Let's
tell
see
you
here.
how jealous I am of your fucking Joy-Cons?
There we go.
So something weird happened with these Joy-Cons.
Okay.
They sent me a second set.
No.
And so I have another set. I have to contact support and be like, you sent me other ones.
Maybe they just like you and they want you to give that to your friend who goes on Glitch Please sometimes.
So let me see. How did I put this in?
Looks
Okay,
like
that's
the-
right.
that's
So it
for the-
goes
there you
like
go.
this. Nope, upside down. So you get this on, and it's basically a cool like screen protector,
That thing is really nice looking. I really.
and it's really pretty, right?
Yeah, very fancy.
But and so like I can actually take it like this, because then you can make it turn it into a stand apparently.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I don't have it fastened in. Maybe I should fasten it in.
How does
There you go.
fasten?
This
It
is
goes
the
like
stand
this.
part.
There you
So
go. There you
gotta
go.
close it up, and then you can do like this
No,
or
I think-
something like that.
I think-
or I'm messing it up. I haven't actually tried putting it on yet, so.
Turn over first of all.
This-
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there you go.
Use the
So
little
it'll, like you can
notches.
make it like stand up.
Stardew.
It's got its own like the Switch has its own little arms, so I don't know how much you actually need it. But
Yeah.
You need that
it's
one little kickstand thing at the back?
yeah. So like I probably won't take this too much, but if you just want to like chuck it in a bag and you don't want the additional
Yeah.
bulk that like this adds, like it's at least a
It's
protection
nice
for the
looking.
screen. But yeah, it won't fit in the dock though. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this long term. But getting ready to head to London tonight myself, I'm like making sure my batteries are charged. Got my Stardew, I've got my golf story. I'm in the middle of charging my Vita, which I have installed Final Fantasy X and X-2 on, just in case.
Oh, boy.
And I've got my 3DS charged up so I can play more Ever Oasis. I've got like my Three Musketeers.
I wish
of
Ever Oasis
cool
was
stuff.
on Switch.
I really do too. I like
game
Ever
looks really
Oasis so much, but now it's very inconvenient to travel with a Switch and a 3DS and a Vita, and it's just too much.
Yep.
And I get that Nintendo is trying to support their support their purebred handheld there, even though it's not a first-party game, but like they're trying to keep 3DS support alive. But everything that's on 3DS, I just want on Switch.
Yeah. No, I get that.
That's my life now.
I want every game on Switch because of the portability. Not that I would always play it on Switch, but just like getting on a plane and playing any 2D game especially, I'm like, yes.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, that's it for this week for Glitch Please. Next week we'll talk some Shadow of War, maybe some South Park, play a bunch of games, get into the holiday spirit. Oh, the spookies. Oh no, I'm caught in the cobwebs now. Okay.
Watch out, that spider will get you.
All right, and if you're a Rooster Teeth First member, you can catch New Game Plus exclusively on the website. All right, we'll see you next week.